Hey, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to dive into creating a residential roof pitch using Profile Builder 4. If you've ever struggled in creating accurate roof pitches from CAD files in SketchUp, this video is here to guide you on how you can use profiles and assemblies to quickly create them in SketchUp. So let's dive into it. So this model didn't start in this position. Let me hide these elements here to show you how I created those specific roof pitches. So what's interesting in the way that you can create something like this is it's a shell of a model. So it's a skin model because it's just for exterior. And usually what I would do is take the CAD elevation and move that as close as I can up into the geometry. And in most cases, I would trace the profile shape itself, or I'd go into the CAD file itself and trace that piece. That way I have this piece to kind of pull out. However, I noticed in this file, it has the same extension and overhang for every single instance. So I can use that to my advantage. I can create a profile in Profile Builder and then create an assembly setting the start and end setbacks of those profiles. So let's see now how we can use Profile Builder 4 to create the profile and then the assembly. So first we need the profile shape of the roof itself. And we can pull that quickly from this CAD file here. So we're going to take that. I'm going to take the line tool and just trace a little surface there. So that way I have this face. So I'm going to, with it pre-selected, I'm going to click on the Open Profile Builder dialog. And then I'm going to click Create a New Profile. And now we should have something like this. So the profile is going to start from the center here. And that's not what I want. I want to first go to the bottom left. But that would create the starting point. If I close out of this, that would create the starting point to be right on the tip. And I don't want it to be on the tip there. What I need to do is bring it in. And the distance that I need to bring it in, if I take the line tool real quick, you can see it's 2 feet from the wall. So I'm going to type in minus 24 or 24 inches, and it's going to bring that in. So we can test that out here. I can click and then pull this way. So now this distance is correct, but I need to bring it down, and it has to come down. If we just look at that again, like if I'm basing from the bottom left corner, we have to come down 3.5 inches. So I need to offset that then up 3.5, or actually, no, I'm wrong. I need to go down 3.5. And I usually like to try to do this. I try to kind of test to see where I'm at and use the CAD file as a reference. And there you can see I'm spot on. Now, the orientation of this is crucial because the way that this is going to create is essentially from right to left. And for me, that's not ideal. I actually want it to be the other way. So I'm going to mirror this. And that way, when I start building with this, it's going to build from left to right, because that is just what works better with this particular model. And typically with assemblies, you kind of always want to go left to right. So you're going sort of along that red axis. Okay, so at a minimum, this could be good enough, right? I can just take this and build the profiles on all the existing planes. But then the problem is there's overhangs on these. So I'd have to do one of two things. I would either have to go into this object and then pull it forward, or I could also use the built-in extend profile member here where I would click and pull that out, type in 12 and hit enter. Right, but that's a little time consuming and I have a lot of different roof pitches. So I'm going to delete that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of create a piece of that just kind of sitting there for a second, kind of just a placeholder for it. Because now what I can do is use assemblies, and the assembly that I'm trying to build is going to be using the profile and pretty much only the profile, but I can extend and leverage this even further. But for right now, in the profile member, I'm going to add a profile member. I'm going to pick it from the model. So I'll pick the profile that I have here. I can then delete this once it's live within there. And then let's do the start and end setback. So I'm going to type in 12 inches for each of these, and let's see what that does. So if I go from here and go forward and then click, you'll see it's setting it not back, but it's cutting it in, right? That's not what I want. I want the opposite. So if I already drew it, I can right click on this profile and go to Profile Builder and go to Live Edit Assembly. I don't have to save the current assembly because it's going to essentially open up the same exact assembly. And then now here, I can change this so that the start setback is not 12, but it's -12 so that it extends. And then the end setback, although in this one it's going to be flush, that's okay. I'm going to also just do it as -12 or -1 foot. So I'm going to have that little bit of extension there because it just creates a nice little endpoint for that anyway. Okay, that looks better. So now what's really cool with this is I can just continue building, right? So I can click build assembly and find the point that I'm drawing from, which is going to be here, pull that over to the far side there, and it's building in that extension. And now what you'll see with this particular file is the piece that I traced from is the longest assembly. And there's a reason for that. If I use the longest assembly, then I can easily carve away at the parts that I don't need. All right, so I have the 3 main sections of this built. Let's just close this for a second. We'll save the assembly just in case. Call this roof profile. Might put this in a specific project, but roof profile is fine for right now. Okay, so the next thing that I can do is I just want to give it some color real quick, just so that I have some context of what I'm seeing. And now here, based off of what I'm building, I can now break the live part of it depending on what I need. And one way that I like to do this, particularly with profiles, is I like to use solid tools. So I may draw an existing rectangle. For example, from here, I may just draw a rectangle like that, push it over and push it out. And then I'll triple click and group this and then move it down. I'm kind of moving it down so that it's essentially creating sort of a cut plane for that. Now, because it's an assembly, it's kind of a group within a group. So the assembly is the group, and then inside of the assembly is the solid profile. And that's actually what I want. So I'm going to take this assembly, and once I'm done with Profile Builder for this, I don't need that sort of linking to the assembly anymore. So I'm going to actually explode this so that now it's just the solid group itself. And then using solid tools, which is a native feature in SketchUp, I can then use solid tools to select the 2 objects and basically trim the one from the other. So there I did it the wrong way. I'm going to select this as the first one and then that as the second one. A lot of times what I would do too, so like this existing wall is not solid, but I may have a whole solid floor plan group first just as a base. Right? I might just kind of shell out this model. To something like that. Make that a big group. Make sure it's a solid group. So if there's any artifacts or wrong faces in it, it's not going to work. So you have to make sure it's a solid group, which now it is. And move that down a little bit, make sure it's intersecting. And I'm going to copy that. So I want to make sure it stays. And then I'm going to do subtract again. So I'm going to subtract this from this one. But again, I got to explode these first. There we go. So again, this, subtract from that one. I'll go to paste in place to bring that back up. Take this one and subtract it from this one. So now if you look, I have that nice clean pitch here. And I actually still could clean this up a little bit more, right? And here I might have to do it natively, right? I might have to just draw a little line there, push that away, clean that up. And this one here, I actually need to take this up and then extend this over to here. And then to wrap it up, I'll apply just a solid gray to the sides of this. Might bring that material flashing down, but depends on the client and what they need. But overall, that's looking much better. And that typically would have taken me a lot longer to build if I had to just use native push pull. Now, one other interesting thing that you can think about with this is if you have multiple profiles, you can create that assembly. That way it has all that information in it for you. For example, I go back in here. Let's use this one as our example. So I'm going to go back to our assembly and I'm going to build our assembly here, but I want to do one more thing. For this profile, I know that I want to add a gutter to it. So maybe I need to show that gutter and profile as part of the same piece. And you could get into this even further. Like this profile, not only could it have this, but you could build an assembly within that so that it has end caps, so that it has a downspout, so on and so forth. You can further do that within the attributes of that. The way we can do it here is I'm going to right click and make sure I'm editing this live. So I'm going to go to Profile Builder 4, click on Live Edit Assembly, and then I'm going to add another profile member. So I'm going to hit the plus sign here, and I'm going to pick the gutter from the geometry there. And I want to make sure I'm going to delete that. I'm going to build this, but the problem that you see is I can't find my gutter. And the reason why, it's back on the house. So I need to make sure that I'm modifying that so that it's actually setting in the right position. So if we remember our setback, remember if I bring this to the right, 24, it's going to bring it flush to that edge. And then actually there's pretty good. I probably would bring it up. Maybe let's try 2 inches. That's too high. Let's try 1 inch. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then the start and end setback, that would have to match similar to what I did with the actual profile. So that would be -12 and -12. And you can go even further with this, right? If you added material to the profile, it would have saved you a step. If we had the end caps and add a component for the downspout for the start and end, you can pre-populate this. So if you're using this a lot, you can quickly build this up in any way, shape, or form that you need. So let us know how you're using Profile Builder 4 with profiles and assemblies to create roof pitches of your own. We'll see you on the next video. Be sure to subscribe to Mind.sight.studios channel for more tips and tricks. You can also visit our website to find other extensions like Sketch Plus, Profile Builder, and Placemaker. Continue your SketchUp journey by watching one of our videos here on the right to learn more about what we offer. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.